From UMT Alumni Office, this is Rubina Shujil, and today we have with us Mr. Mazhar Hamayun, UMT alumnus, who is a security solutions architect at Checkpoint Software Technologies, Washington, D.C., USA, and a former lead threat intelligence engineer, the Government of District of Columbia. In today's digital world, protecting our data is highly crucial. Individuals to organizations find it challenging to safeguard crucial digital data. To overcome these challenges, we implement cybersecurity. Mr. Hamayo is an experienced security solution architect, and today he will share his role and responsibilities with his key achievements towards cybersecurity. Mazhar Hamayo, I welcome you in this interview session.
Thank you for having me.
Well, from system engineer to cybersecurity engineer at Checkpoint Software Technologies, please share your journey with us.
It's a long journey, and there are several people contribute to that and work with different organizations. It all started back in Lahore in Pakistan, where I worked with some good organizations. I spent few years in Pell. I worked in their IT and cybersecurity team, and then while I was doing my masters at UMT, I got chance to learn some new stuff for internet security, introduction to advanced Linux security systems, and from there I take it to next level. And I spent few years with Ericsson Global Services in Pakistan, and that helped a lot to understand the upcoming challenges in the career and cybersecurity.
What major security solutions you provide to USA government and local companies over
So,
there?
in my current role, I am responsible for small and local governments and large scale commercial accounts. And we have a huge lineup of cybersecurity solutions to cover from endpoint to mobile to cloud hosted email security solutions and also data centers and enterprise security. We cover from identity protections to actual data protection for large scale enterprises and provide them guidance how to make their data secure. Either they use checkpoint solutions or not, but still like how they can integrate our solution with other solutions and secure the users and public information.
Quick thinking is required when dealing with IT security issues, as they can rapidly escalate if not handled fast. Please share a situation in which you discovered a vulnerability in a company server and what steps you took to remedy these issues.
Uh, Sometimes it's immediate thinking, sometimes it's background information is more important to understand what you're dealing with, or at least the assets within your own organization or network. So I was dealing with a security incident back in 2016 where one of the public security monitoring systems where like an organization was using the DVR systems and camera systems, which was running a basic Windows operating system as the system software without any security software. And they come back and they mention that, oh, we can't access our video recordings from our monitoring cameras. And when we start working with them, we realized they were the victims of ransomware. So it took us around 4 days back and forth to work with them and rebuild everything from scratch, because once you're infected with ransomware, 95% chances are that you will not get your data back or your keys back even if you pay. So lots of organizations try to keep their backups available for that same purpose, but there are other ways to protect it from the configuration perspective as well.
What does effective cybersecurity look like to you, and how do you measure it?
So, an effective cybersecurity is first you need to have sort of ideas about what is your environment, what you're dealing with. For example, if you have you're running a university or an educational institution, you need to know what sort of applications or systems are required for to operate for teachers and students equally, and what sort of user rights you can provide them on their own computers or laptops or
Okay.
cloud applications. You give them role-based access, which suits only to their roles. Like a teacher doesn't have to have a full admin rights on a lab computer. D- and similar way, lab admins can have similar rights only to their own portion of network, not the whole network. So plus there are configuration changes. You can secure certain things, like you can block the runtime access on Windows softwares, or you can do the better access control list on Linux systems or Unix systems, and that helps you to protect your systems. And then when you go on the large scale, you have to think about, instead of allowing all and then block when you saw a problem, you should preferable way is to block all and only allow these things what is required to operate the business.
Okay. So, to a general user, please share what is a firewall and why it is used.
So firewall is a historic word. It's in a layman language, it's a system which protect your traffic or communication from one point to other point, and it requires some predetermined rules, how you what you want to allow for user A or site A to reach to site B. Originally term firewall came from a wall between two adjacent buildings, where like they built the brick walls to protect one building from other if one caught fire. But later on in 90s, that same thing comes into the computing world, and we use that to monitor and control incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined rules.
Okay. So now
Is that
ethical
simple
hacking.
enough?
Yeah, thank you. Ethical hacking is a new trend in the market. So what is that, the ethical hacking, and how you can correlate with cybersecurity?
Ethical hacking is very core element of cybersecurity. It's basically a term you called red teaming, where
Hmm.
organizations hire few people who continuously look into their own existing network, their system services, and try to see what is vulnerable there, if there's any software or system which is not properly secured or properly configured, and somebody from outside can exploit that and break into companies assets, or try to breach or exfil the data,
Hmm.
which can cost money, more monitoring cost. So companies hire those people to do internally, and those people are called ethical hackers because they are doing hacking to help somebody to fix their systems, or they are doing the hacking based on the system owner's consent and approval.
So what are the common cyber attacks? And there's a common word we are common these days we are listening like DDoS. So how to prevent common denial of service attack like DDoS?
So 90% of attacks begin with your email or
Okay.
your messaging systems, because email is an easy avenue where, like, when with the evolution of mobile services in past 10 15 years, where everybody carries 5 different email accounts on their phone, and it's like organizations can spend money and resources to secure their own email security solutions at cloud provider or their exchange servers. But when users have an email, like you have your corporate email on your phone, and beside that you have your personal email or Signal or WhatsApp messaging there as well, and somebody can send you an exploit or a vulnerable phishing email, which can takes you to a different web page and ask you to create put your own uh, email credentials or your banking credentials, and they'll basically lure users to give up the information without knowing where they are heading. So securing your mobile devices, securing your endpoints from those unknown phishing attacks is the biggest challenge in today's world.
All right. So what about the public Wi-Fi? I mean, what are the risks associated with it?
So public Wi-Fi's, you can categorize different public Wi-Fi's. One public Wi-Fi, say you go into airport authority can create their own public Wi-Fi. You can use that to certain extent to check your emails, check your scheduling, something else, or make a call. But I will not suggest to check your bank accounts on those Wi-Fi's or any, because you don't know how they are securing the data or how they are securing the traffic for that. Second element comes in if you go to any place, a coffee shop, a hotel, or a park where somebody create a lookalike Wi-Fi, which you don't know who's the owner of that
Mhm.
and what is the malicious intent behind that network. So try to refrain from using the public Wi-Fi by default at every place. Look for trusted places to see if an a independent entity or a proper authority is running a network there.
Well, it's a very valuable information, and Mazhar sir. So,
Yeah.
is it right to send login credentials through email, through official email?
Never send your credentials in official or personal email. Try to
Okay.
call in to the person and give your password if you have to. Don't
Mhm.
send the passwords with text messages or other, unless your email provider provides you an option to encrypt your email. Like Microsoft recently launched a service back in 2019 where they offer you an option to encrypt an email when you're sending a password, but still, it's not recommended to send your credentials via email to anybody.
So, do companies offer remote work? I mean, freelance for cybersecurity jobs?
Very few, and very and on a very small scale, few companies offer remote work for development work.
Can you mention these companies' name? I mean, if it is appropriate.
It's a changing landscape because if you talk about 2020, everybody was offering work from home and remote work, but now companies are pushing to come back and work and do more development in house. When it comes to development jobs, it's more challenging for companies because they want to secure their intellectual data and other software codes. Uh, they don't want to take risk, developers taking that data out or making a unwanted situation for them. But when it comes to the network engineers or security engineers, there are a lot more jobs. One thing 2020 and COVID era told us that you can work from anywhere if you have proper security solutions on your systems. So I cannot answer that question with full authority, like
All
who are
right.
the companies who can provide and give the remote workforce, because it's it varies company to company and role to role.
All right. So, how well did your UMT experience prepare you for this job?
Couple of good things I learned in UMT. One big element was presentation skills, where like for people who's watching this video, I was
Mhm.
part of the first batch of MS Telecom program, and 100% faculty came from industry where people were working on professional organizations and they came to teach us. They share a lot more than the actual curriculum. They show us how to present, how to handle conflicted situations, or how to handle tough people. Because in cybersecurity, you are public's enemy number one, always, because you have to say no to most questions and queries because it's a hard part of the job. And while working in telecom and a degree at UMT, I will work with a couple of very good industry leading people at that time who helped us understand how to deal with that kind of situation. And I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, you're right, absolutely right. UMT is grooming its students very well. So,
Yes.
what abilities? Right. What abilities or personal qualities do you believe contribute most of the success in this particular field?
You have to specialize and you have to be 100% on what you're doing there. You need to have right focus, and then you need to have some sort of activity around your work as well, because cybersecurity jobs can be very tedious and they can be tense jobs at times as well. So you need to have some sort of activity or social activity or sports activity which can help you cool down and relax afterwards and try to change your mindset from different. Plus, when you work in cybersecurity or any field, you need to know in and out of what you're doing for your job and around it, and you need to able to continuously learn how what are the new trends, what are different companies doing in the field. If there's a new breach, you try to figure out what exactly happened in that breach, read those reports, read the vulnerability details. So social media is your friend if you want to use that. There are a lot more information available if you have a proper focus on what you're trying to do.
Right. So, what would you advise to IT graduates who are pursuing their career in cybersecurity?
And for anybody who wanna build a career in cybersecurity, I will suggest them to understand and have a deep understanding of two different operating system, mainly Windows and Unix, because if you go work in a SOC environment, you will be dealing with packet captures and raw data and logs. Then you need to understand how one particular field works in Windows and how this same field works in Linux systems. That helps you. And then if you go into the cybersecurity engineering or architecture side, again, you will be revolving around the solutions. You will be building around Windows and Microsoft systems or enterprises running their applications on those systems. And that's how they will guide you, help you finding your path in a critical situation, because you can learn how to make a firewall, you can do a certifications, you can operate certain firewalls, but mm, 80% of job comes when you are doing troubleshooting or you are dealing with a cybersecurity attack situation. And at that stage you need to have not only your security solutions architecture or the admin information, but you also need to have some idea about other solutions and how the traffic travels on different systems. So it's not limited to just one cybersecurity product.
Okay. So, how to secure cybersecurity jobs in states?
There are lots of companies hire, and cybersecurity is one thing where companies don't look for who's who and where somebody is residing currently, and they try to find resources globally.
So, what are the platforms available to to search the jobs? Cybersecurity jobs.
There are Dice is one company, Monster is one. They are generic search engines, but there's one site called Indeed, INDEED.com.
Yeah.
It's basically a search engine for jobs, which basically you put the criteria and location, and it fetch the job from different job bulletins for you. And then there are companies directly hiring, like if you go to say cisco.com, you go to paloalto.com, fortinet.com, checkpoint.com. Microsoft itself a biggest cybersecurity company. They have a lot more investment in cybersecurity. So all of these large scale companies have their own career page where you can search, and they have jobs on global scale as well.
Right. Any suggestion for alumni office?
You guys doing a great job, and keep doing it. I really appreciate all of your support what we're getting.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Maya, for your time. We really appreciate you and your work. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.